Welcome back to Merit Street's very special live event, The Great Weight Debate. We are thrilled to have our very own studio audience this morning, and we want to encourage you at home to join in our discussion.
That's right. Welcome to you. Welcome to all of you. We're so glad everyone is joining us. Make sure you do email your questions from home at comments@meritstreetmedia.com. That's comments@meritstreetmedia.com. It is at the bottom of your screen. As we tackle one of the largest epidemics facing our nation, we're talking obesity, diet culture, and weight loss. But before we dive in, watch this.
Today, the great weight debate. The rise of GLP-1 injectors, Ozempic, Wegovy, and Zepbound have permanently altered the weight loss landscape. While these medications promise a beacon of hope for those struggling with obesity, they also intensify the desperation of those seeking a quick fix. Is Ozempic the end-all solution we've been waiting decades for? Or are people flocking for a quick fix that will be utterly detrimental in the long run?
We need transparency and we need honesty about what we're taking in.
Trends like weight loss pills, juicing, detoxing, and clean eating have obliterated any chance of achieving a truly healthy lifestyle and mindset. With celebrities like Oprah Winfrey supporting fad diets over the years, the quest for wellness has turned into a chaotic battlefield, leaving genuine health in the dust.
I starved myself for nearly 5 months and then wheeled out that wagon of fat that the internet will never let me forget. And after losing 67 pounds on a liquid diet, the next day, y'all, the very next day, I started to gain it back.
According to the CDC, obesity rates have more than tripled since the 70s. Back then, about 15% of adults were obese. Today, that number has skyrocketed to more than 41%. We are not just facing a crisis, we are in the midst of an epidemic. In pursuit of this elusive magic bullet for shedding those pounds, we are left more confused and frustrated than ever.
This is not just a battle for our bodies, it's also a battle for our brains.
Now, it's up to us to once and for all provide the comprehensive solutions that you have been desperately searching for in today's great weight debate.
So after the break, our game-changing discussion, our expert panel tackles the misconceptions and the burning questions surrounding weight and wellness.
And the most important part is this is your chance to get the answers that you have been wanting for quite a long time. All you have to do is email us at comments@meritstreetmedia.com. You're going to get your weight loss questions answered once and for all today, right here on Morning on Merit Street. We'll be right back.
As you all well know, Ozempic took the world by storm, with everybody wanting that magic fix to weight loss.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone jumped on the bandwagon. We're talking about Wegovy, Zepbound, Moyers. Those are just a few of the weight loss medications that are helping people and celebrities alike shed pounds and do it quickly.
These GLP-1 drugs signal to your brain that you are full, and they help to regulate blood sugar. Ozempic and Moyers are both used for diabetes, which raises concerns for pricing and availability for those who medically need them.
Also, there are other questions. Are these drugs truly a quick fix? And how has their impact changed the weight loss culture and narrative surrounding our health? The craze has literally ignited controversial reactions. Joining us now is a panel of experts who are going to help us weigh in on our great weight debate.
Yes, they are here to have an open and honest conversation about a really complicated topic, which most everybody really has a personal connection to. We do have award-winning pharmacist Dr. Sue Ojigir, registered dietitian nutritionist Janna Weaver, board-certified OB-GYN Dr. Carolyn Moyers, and primary hormone health and weight management specialist. Joining us virtually this morning is Dr. Dina Adimulam. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all for being here. Dr. Adimulam, I'm going to start with you first virtually. We know weight loss is different for each and every one of us, every single person, and there are so many factors that are at play. Genetics, health, upbringing. I mean, really, we could go on forever. So how has, let's take Ozempic, for instance, and similar drugs, how have they changed this weight loss landscape?
So we all know that obesity is a chronic disease and it needs to be treated like any other medical issue, like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, for example. So Ozempic has made it more readily available to people to have an easier way to deal with some of the cravings that one experiences when it's difficult to lose weight. So this has really helped people to sort of calm down some of the food noise that makes it very hard to continue on a weight loss journey to decrease calorie intake.
Dr. Ojigir, I want to ask you about this. You know, I know people who are taking Ozempic and Wegovy and these different types of drugs. They have had tremendous success with them. There's no question they work. But what about the long term? That's the big question here. Are they safe long term? And then what happens? You can't stay on it forever. So what are you seeing, and what about the safety and efficacy in the long term space?
That's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
These drugs are fairly new. They have been on the market for not too long. So the long term effects and the side effects down the road are not studied for quite extensive reasons and for the reasons of being short term. So what we teach our patients, and we stress with our patients, is that you have to implicate lifestyle modifications as well as diet and lifestyle modifications. It's very important to incorporate with these medications when you're taking them.
You know, it's interesting, Dominic, you brought up, you know, we have so many friends of all different ages that are taking these drugs. Dr. Moyers, I want to go to you because a lot of us that are in midlife now, we're struggling with weight gain, and it looks different, it feels different. Our metabolism is so much different, especially when our metabolism slows down and we get closer to menopause. What advice can you give ladies in that midlife space that we can take and implement now when it comes to weight loss?
Yeah, it's really starting with healthy lifestyle changes early on, because the metabolic changes that we start to see are happening in our 30s and 40s. It's not starting at menopause and, you know, 50s, early 50s. So we start to see that decline with a decrease in hormones, leading to an increase in fat distribution and lean muscle mass. So incorporating nutrition and your weight lifting to add that lean muscle mass is really key, as well as hormone therapy if you need it, because we do see that we see some improvement with these medications in addition with hormone therapy, seeing better weight loss.
I have a follow-up question to that, because a lot of doctors, I know a lot of my friends have said that the doctors have told us as we're aging to increase our protein intake at night. Do you recommend that as well? And how much are we talking?
Daily protein intake needs to be increased, but I don't know that I would focus it specifically at night.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a certain amount.
Yeah.
Jan, I want to loop you in. You are in agreement for clients to use these drugs. I think the overall message that we're hearing is that it's not a one quick fix, that yes, you know, these GLP-1s can help, they can initiate, but it is a combination of what we intake with our food, how we move, how we rest, what we're doing with our hormones. It's multi-pronged. So talk to me about how you advise your clients who are really, really struggling. Do you say, okay, we're gonna start you on a semaglutide, and then we're gonna do all of these things in tandem?
Yes, we do. We have clients that have been very successful. I do practice from a holistic approach with lifestyle modification. We use the InBody, so we focus on body composition changes, and we put together very individualized meal planning programming for their specific goals. However, we have seen individuals who are, you know, in menopause, perimenopause, they just struggle. Our food supply looks different. So we really have started to see such great results with clients coming in. They're already on Ozempic, and so we are able to make these recommendations to some of our other clients who just hit that wall and they're not seeing the results. And it has been truly life-changing for a lot of people to be able to see and achieve those results, because they are eating very healthy and they're following our recommendations, but this has just given them an additional layer of support that they've desired.
I guess the key there, like you said, is using it wisely and making sure that it works for you. Dr. Ojigir, I want to go to you. There was a new study that was just revealed, and it shows that nearly half of online pharmacies are selling weight loss drugs, and they're doing it illegally. A lot of people, of course, are looking at price and affordability, especially now with everything being so expensive in our society. How do people know they're dealing with a certified pharmacy so they don't get cheap or even dangerous counterparts and counterfeits?
That's a very great point you bring up because of the rise of the increase with these medications being brought to the availability of us. There's many different ways that you could get them. I always recommend to my patients, when you're going to see a practitioner, make sure you're speaking directly with a licensed professional, that you're actually meeting with a dietitian, you're meeting with a nurse practitioner or a physician, getting these medications prescribed to you, and not just ordering off of the internet, because that is a very big concern. You want to make sure the pharmacy that's going to be providing these injectables are going to be licensed and certified. So doing your due diligence is very important.
And I would have to bring up, too, that there's a shortage of these drugs in some cases. People who really need them can't get them, so it's even more important for making sure you're getting them from a reputable source.
Very important. At the time, there is currently no shortage. The manufacturers have released that there is availability, but previously there was a shortage, and of course there was lots of ways that you could get these medications and not the safest form available.
Well, it's good to hear there's the shortage is no more, so that's encouraging.
But I've also heard, too, that a lot of people who are getting prescriptions for these drugs aren't getting them filled in the proper time, and there is a timing and a sequence for taking them that is critical, and therein lies this conundrum of the availability. Yes, it may be there, but it may not be at the specific date and time, which can throw you off. So that's something that needs to be addressed as well. We have so much more coming up in just a moment. Of course, we are addressing you and answering your questions at home. Conversation is just getting started. Be sure and stay with us.
That's right. Coming up next, the great debate, weight loss trends that set us up for failure time and time again. We're going to tackle that. And of course, you do still have time at home to email us with your weight loss questions. And then that address again, comments@meritstreetmedia.com, comments@meritstreetmedia.com. We will continue right after this.
And welcome back to today's special, Merit Street's very own Great Weight Debate. We are disrupting the weight loss world today, and we are answering questions that are on your mind this morning.
And with us today, our very own Morning on Merit Street live studio audience. Welcome to all of them. A lot of people here this morning. Thank you all for being here. A lot of you have been struggling with weight, and like you at home, we all want real answers, right? Well, we're going to do that this morning. Ozempic, we've been talking about it. It's not only the disruptor in the playing field, it's not the only one that's out there. Other weight loss fads have actually blurred the lines of what it means to be healthy and what steps we need to take to actually achieve our own individual goals.
Yeah, and there are a lot of factors at play here, but I really want to open it up to our panel. First of all, discuss trends. I mean, diet pills, you know, juicing, detox. I mean, every year, every month, you scroll TikTok, it's like a new trend to follow.
You get dizzy.
You get dizzy. You can lose your mind. You know, this one's doing that, and this one's doing that, and what should I be doing here? You never hear about diet pills anymore. It seems like they've gone by the wayside. I don't know, maybe Dr. Ojigir, you can tell me otherwise. But what are you seeing? Do any of these things work that we're scrolling and seeing, by the way?
There's quite a lot out there, isn't there?
Yes.
There's
it's dizzying.
There's so many fad diets that we see. I mean, they promise great results, quick results. But the thing is, when you're going to have quick results, you're not going to have sustainable results as well. You're going to lose quick weight, water weight most of the time, so you're not going to have lasting results. And that's very important. We want to educate our patients and let them know that if you want to have a sustainable lifestyle, you need to incorporate real changes and not have a quick one-off fix.
I'm so curious too, what is the weight loss gene? I mean, do some people have a gene that enables them to lose weight, or do some people have a gene that makes them hold on to weight?
There is a specific factor, a gene that's influenced by weight. It's called the FTO gene. So there is influence in our genetic predisposition that makes some of us a little bit easier to lose some weight and some of us a little harder, especially sometimes where we keep the weight. Usually the visceral, the abdominal weight takes a little
The midlife
harder.
belly fat weight that we love so
area.
much.
That does stay a little longer for some of us, but there are some influences in our genetics that makes it a little harder or easier for us to lose weight.
You know, let's talk about midlife. We mentioned menopause last segment, and Dr. Moyers, I want to ask you this. How does menopause actually influence weight gain and our body's composition as we're moving into this next phase of life?
Well, when we lose our estrogen and testosterone, progesterone, we start to see a decrease in lean muscle mass and an increase in fat deposition, particularly in the belly region and intra-abdominally too, around our organs, which increases our cardiovascular risk.
I know a lot of women, when we see that start to happen, we try to do things to sit-ups. I mean, whatever it takes. It's the cleanses, it's the juices. What do you recommend we do when we see that start to happen, like you were saying, to get ahead of those things before it becomes an issue?
Yeah, I think that in our 30s and 40s, it takes something, in 50s and beyond, it takes something very different than what it did. What I commonly hear is that what I used to do in my 20s and 30s no longer works.
Like I can't eat pizza like I used to eat pizza anymore.
Exactly. Carbs aren't our friends
Those days
anymore.
are done.
Yeah. Long gone.
You know, I want to bring in Dr. Adimula as well, because the other interesting component to hormonal changes that start in perimenopause. And I noticed for me, in my 40s, I started to lose sleep as I lost estrogen.
Yeah.
So you lose sleep, then suddenly your cortisol levels spike, you're not getting rest, and then the weight is just piling on, to your point, in areas where it never used to hang on before. So let's talk about these. It's like a cascading effect of hormone changes and body changes, and you feel like you are spiraling out of control. So Dr. Adimula, I want you to chime in on that as well when it comes to hormones and where, you know, it's so important for women to get this addressed by the right specialist. And let's talk about that and being your own advocate when it comes to your health in midlife.
Absolutely. So I think these are all great points that we're discussing. What I think is very important is for our audience to realize that our body is going through these tremendous changes, right? Especially when it comes to hormones. So the diet and the lifestyle changes that you were making when you were in your 20s to lose weight is going to be very different from the type of lifestyle changes you need to make in your 30s and your 40s and in your 50s and so on. So every decade of life, you need to think about, you know, what is going on with your life, with your hormones, with your stress level, with your entire equilibrium that's a little bit off balance than it was previously. So if you're wondering, you know, are your hormones being affected and is that coming in the way of your goals, you should absolutely speak to a specialist like an endocrinologist who is a doctor that specializes in hormones. Hormones are easy to measure, so we can actually look at your blood work and tell you whether or not there is some sort of hormonal change. We can also actually look at body composition to understand your fat and lean mass distribution, to understand what is your true caloric intake that is needed to lose weight. And you'd be really surprised how low it can be for some women. I've had some women going through menopause that their BMR is quite low because their fat deposition is so high that they need to eat less than 1,100 calories or more in order to lose weight, which is such a different change from what they were doing when they were just, you know, 10 years younger. So important to realize our body changes and it continues to change as we age, and we have to change the way that we look at how we age and how our body is changing, especially when it comes to weight loss.
Okay, and Dr. Moyers, to your point, the more muscle mass you have, the better it is to be able to burn fat and to stay strong and healthy as you get older as well. We do want to thank all of you at home who have taken the time to write in and ask the questions that you want to get answered.
Let's get to our first question this morning from home. Amy from home is wondering, how does poverty play a role in weight loss? Some of these medications to pay out of pocket, the price is astronomical. What advice do you have for women trying to shed pounds, but they're really on a diet? I'll let any of you pick that up.
For us, we do have a lot of clients that may not be able to afford, and their insurance may not approve for them to be on Ozempic. A lot of them have been able to obtain the compounded versions, but we really we've been really trying to help people with satiety for years, obviously as dietitians, and set up their nutrition plan in a way that helps them increase their amount of protein, strength training, and that sets them up for success. But what we really do is we make them accountable. We give them the tools and resources where they can get started where they are at.
Yeah. And many people will say healthy food is expensive food, so help me here.
Yeah.
Yes, and I say processed food. Boxed food is very expensive. We have a local farmers market that I'm a part of the board, and you can gather lots of different things for a friendly, budget-friendly amount of foods. I tell people we do that before we do a little adding up all the processed foods, adding up all the fresh whole foods. But yes, that is a myth. And sometimes things are more expensive, but most time we can overcome that.
The key is to incorporate it into your existing lifestyle, and there are ways you can do that. That's so encouraging.
Start from where you're at, and we go from there.
Yes,
And to that point,
balance.
I have patients who have lost, their goal weight, and every one of them reached it in a different way, whether they're working with a trainer and working on their nutrition, whether they've started hormone therapy and they've added in semaglutide. So there's so many different ways to get there. It really is a matter of where you are, meeting them where they are.
That's great. They're encouraging.
Yeah, it is. Well, coming up next, our audience is going to weigh in. We are providing some real-life solutions here and answers to questions you have been begging to get answered, and we're tackling all of your questions coming up next.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Great Weight Debate right here on Morning on Marriage Straight.
Our audience is with us. They have questions too, and our Joe Gum is with them as well to be able to get them answered.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jocelyn. I'm 30 years old, and I tried keto, weight loss pills, and the older I get, the harder it is to lose weight. So my question is what is a realistic weight loss plan when it comes to losing weight?
That's
one that'll stick.
Yes.
Stick the landing is what we want to do.
And she's asking early, so good for you, Jocelyn. That's great.
So I'll take this one. Thank you for your question, Jocelyn. Really, whenever we have someone come in and we're looking at goal setting, we put them on the in-body scan. So we're looking at body composition. We want to see body fat decrease and muscle mass either maintain or increase. Muscle is what drives your metabolism. So we want to see a true weight loss that's body fat. We want you to eat a moderate to high protein, balance your carbohydrates. We want you to eat high fiber, so that helps with your satiety. Protein is a big part of the satiety. And then we also want to come alongside you and be that accountability. And a lot of us really need that. Even if we have a good foundation of nutrition, we still sometimes need that person to support us, encourage us, and really help us understand what do we need to do to lose weight. And then if we feel like that some of these weight loss medications, if that's within your budget, if that's something that you like to try, we can certainly recommend, and we do, as a part of your nutrition plan.
Janna, it sounds like you want every woman in this room to get into a gym and start lifting weights.
Yes.
That's the message that I'm hearing as a part of everything.
And eat protein.
And eat protein.
We talk about protein all day long. Eat protein for satiety and build muscle.
Protein and weights, okay. So you have another question.
Hi. My name is Michelle. My question is, now that I've reached my goal of a 53-pound weight loss, what?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Is it better to stay on like a maintenance dosing, because I hear of people doing that when it comes to things like semaglutide, or is it better just to maintain your lifestyle changes, and will there be any withdrawal symptoms when you're coming off of these type of medications?
That's a great question. I love this one. So the question is that these medications are available to us. Do we want to stay on them forever, or how many years, how many months do we want to be on them once we reach our target weight? So the first question I would ask is, how long have you been at your goal weight? How sustainable you are currently with your choices that you're making as far as protein consumption, your macros? Are you currently lifting weights? Is your lifestyle able to support your weight loss? Because you're going to go back or kick back and gain the weight back. So as long as your lifestyle is sustainable and you're able to keep up with your regimen, then you could speak to your physician to slowly decrease or start weaning yourself off the medication.
Great. Okay, Joe, you have another question.
Hi, I'm Deb. I'm actually 70 years old. I've lost a little over 40 pounds, and I'm kind of stuck here. I want to lose more. I've done a lot of diet changes. What do I do next?
The wall, the infamous wall.
We've all hit that wall.
Yes.
Are you currently on one of the GLP-1s, or have you tried?
No medications. I've just done it on my own, just with diet changes and not drinking soda.
That's amazing. And congratulations on the success you've had. We would sit down with you and we would look at where you are right now, and if we needed to balance calories, We increase protein, fiber. I'd also recommend you to one of these professionals, maybe look at hormone testing or, see if that is something that was needed additionally. There may be some supplements, so micronutrient deficiency, but we would sit down and look at all that together and go from there.
Okay, and one final question.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I've been on Ozempic for about 4 or 5 months now because the drug I was on was unavailable. And I have concerns like if it were to become unavailable, is there any research or data or truth to the rumor? Because I've heard a lot of horror stories about people have gained back so much weight, like immediately after getting off the drug. And I have concerns how it would affect my body.
That's a great question there as well. Now, you mentioned you were on the Ozempic. Yes. So the generic to that is a semaglutide. So thankfully we have it available, but for some reason you're not able to get the branded medication or available from the pharmacy, you could also get the compounded version of the medicine. And there's different variations as well. There's the tirzepatide, which has a little bit more of the GLP than GIP together, those hormones that work conjunctively. So you have options. And like we mentioned before, it's also important to include those lifestyle modifications, your weight-bearing activities, your lifting weight to build your mass muscle, and protein consumption is very important as well.
Wow. All right. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for your questions. I think we've all learned something here.